Hey all, I wanted to do a quick BCH and Russia World War Z update, which I haven't done in a while. But on both fronts, there is history in the making. There's chicks running around here, and then the dog trying to play with the chicks. So first off, the simple one is with Bitcoin Cash. The real Bitcoin is now implementing cash token protocol. So from the beginning in Bitcoin, there's been the potential of having tokens. So not just the Bitcoin itself being used as currency or money, but tokens hosted on that blockchain, which can be used for a whole myriad of things. So because the original Bitcoin was hijacked and stymied, Ethereum ended up coming up and kind of monopolizing the whole token ecosystem and having the whole ICO, initial coin offering phase, where that pumped its market cap by billions and took down the market dominance of Bitcoin Core. So that was shut down by the government because Ethereum is a centralized organization. There's a centralized Ethereum Foundation, so it's able to be controlled in that way. And just like the Bitcoin was kind of shut down by Bitcoin Core, centralizing the blockchain and the whole protocol, which was what necessitated Bitcoin Cash forking off to keep Bitcoin alive in its original intent. So now, after several successful attack vectors against Bitcoin Cash, which have prevented the token ecosystem from flourishing, finally we're getting on-chain tokens for Bitcoin Cash, which should be locked in November if everything goes well, and then will become live in May of next year. So this is especially exciting for myself and in relation to Allodium, because Allodium has its own currency and blockchain protocol. And once these features are enacted on Bitcoin Cash, then the Allodium appreciation token currency, as well as the entire Allodium protocol, can be hosted on Bitcoin Cash. So that's what's exciting for me. But in the same way, there can be a whole ICO ecosystem. There can be a basically a mercantile exchange system, a smart contract protocol system. There's just so much that is enabled by this upgrade, and just disintermediation of so many different industries. And for that reason, there's ongoing attacks against Bitcoin Cash, the real Bitcoin. And there's no more attacks against Bitcoin Core because it already got taken over, and there's nothing to attack. It's already been subverted. So the most recent, there's been just so many attacks against Bitcoin. The most recent against Bitcoin Cash was the CoinFlex attack and the Smart BCH attack, which is, in a way, it's continuing, but CoinFlex is basically just a well-organized scam hosted out of a special jurisdiction, where people who then got scammed out of all their funds with a pegged US dollar token with a guaranteed return, and then people just got scammed. It's just a pyramid scheme, confidence scheme. And then they were the centralized exchange for what they call smart Bitcoin Cash. Smart. It's smart. But really, it's just an EVM. It's just Ethereum masquerading as Bitcoin Cash and trying to take over the attention, the excitement, the interest, and ultimately the ticker and name of Bitcoin Cash, and just turn it into an Ethereum chain. And Ethereum has already given up proof of work and transferred to proof of stake, in the admittance that its whole Well, they say that's what it was intending to do from the beginning, to take away the proof of work and just turn it into proof of stake, which is not what Bitcoin is about at all. But that's what all of these different attack vectors are all about, is about killing Bitcoin, which is a digital financial decentralized revolution and solution to the centralized debt-based system of cartel of monopolized intermediaries controlling the financial system of the world and dragging everyone down into a black hole of debt. So that's great news for Bitcoin Cash. The price isn't really all that relevant. Other than that, it's at a great price point. From my last video exposing the coin flex attack and talking about around $100 being the bottom, that's been evident since, and it's been hovering around that for many months now, and it's been clear who bad actors are in the environment, and at this point anyone who's promoting smart Bitcoin Cash is a bad actor relative to Bitcoin Cash, and they'll sell it as if it's some benefit for Bitcoin Cash because, well, it has Bitcoin Cash in the name, but it's just an Ethereum blockchain, which is basically just trying to hijack Bitcoin Cash, the real Bitcoin. And there are some big names who are who promoted smart Bitcoin Cash in the beginning, who promoted CoinFlex, and who I supported because they seem to be ideologically aligned with the libertarian ideals, free market principles, but anyone can masquerade or put on a front as if they represent something when in fact they don't, and then they'll eventually show their cards and demonstrate that really what they're interested in is not Bitcoin. Maybe they're interested in just Ethereum, and that's fine. That's why there's so many different coins in the ecosystem, so that it weeds out everyone based on their ideology, and people get invested into what is resonant for them. So for those who are interested and resonant with disintermediated, decentralized, peer-to-peer, frictionless cash, then they are excited about Bitcoin Cash and the ongoing development in relation to Bitcoin Cash. So this is all great news for Bitcoin Cash, and there's a lot of clarity insofar as who the bad actors are and what the attack vectors are, which is all necessary in order for those to not succeed as they have in the past, to stymie the innovation of Bitcoin. And then secondly, going on to Russia and what I term World War Z, and I guess the Pope is in agreement with me, and it's clearly a world war at this point. There are, well, at the very least, on one side, Russia and Iran are working together, and on the other side, the Ukraine is basically just a front for the NATO and Anglo-American forces, essentially, to wage a war of attrition against Russia and to try to economically isolate it. And they're continuing along those lines. The most recent major development, obviously, being the sabotage bombing of the Nord Stream gas pipeline, which was what connected Russia directly to Germany to supply a major amount of gas to Europe. So most likely we're going to see pretty soon a similar attack of the gas pipelines from Russia going through Ukraine to Europe, because the idea is basically, from the U.S. perspective, to use Europe as the sacrificial lamb, to squeeze it, to put it into conflict with Russia so that Russia is brought down through this war of attrition and that capital flees from the European markets to the American markets, and the destruction of the euro, and at this point it seems like the the British Empire, Commonwealth as well, all of that to basically sacrifice it and consolidate all that wealth into the American economic system. No, Lou. He bit out one of the chickens because the chickens jumped on his back. And they try to ride the dog. It reminds me of Dune and the people riding the worm. The little people mounting the big worm and riding it. It's like these tiny little chicks want to jump on the dog and ride it. One of them's got more than 8 seconds, but I think only one. But several of them have tried. So, and then that attack on the Nord Stream pipeline coming the day before Russia, or a couple days before Russia annexed the 4 Ukrainian regions, who voted in a referendum and all had overwhelming majorities that want to rejoin Russia because they're primarily Russian-speaking ethnic Russians that used to be part of Russia and have little affinity with Ukraine, and it's in their best interest to be a part of Russia, just like the same for Crimea. So Russia's mobilized more than double of their initial force size, and are likely going to go through a winter campaign to fully claim all of these regions. It's like we're in a bird estuary here. They're all speaking up. One of them just mounted Lewis again, and sadly, their progenitor Mimi, who is basically either their great grandmother or something along those lines, she died this morning or last night. So we've got all of these young chicks in the living room next to the old chicken who's wrapped up and hasn't been buried yet. Life goes on. It's similar to a fourth turning, the death of the old queen and the rising of all of the new forces in a more multipolar world system. So where am I going with the whole Russia thing? Well, it's just a reflection of these ongoing escalations that are happening, and Europe is getting squeezed in the middle, and they have basically no autonomy. They're just vassals of the U.S. empire, and until and unless the people themselves rise up and overthrow their overlords, then it's going to be the same. They're just going to keep on getting squeezed, or like the frog in the pot. The heat's just going to keep, the pressure is going to turn up. They're losing heat, they're losing power, their industry is failing, and that's all part of the plan, because there's no one representing their interests. They're just I don't know the right word, but they're subjects to a foreign power that doesn't care about their well-being. And maybe at some point they will rise up to a degree and have a bottom-up revolution. We'll see, but barring that, things are probably just going to keep going the way that they've been going. And what that means is all sorts of volatility and economic turmoil going forward, energy prices going up and food prices going up, but a lot of the other prices will probably start having disinflation, like lumber prices have gone down and steel prices have gone down because there's no more development. So all of the costs of living increasing, but the costs of everything else that are non-essentials will go down because there's less demand for it. So it's kind of like a seesaw pattern of the destruction of the economy and the realignment, basically, where Russia is already realigning its economy towards a warfare-based economy, and you'll likely end up seeing that in other countries like the United States as well. And due to this last infrastructure attack, this major infrastructure attack on the gas pipeline to Germany, that opens up a whole new aspect of where the warfare and destruction might end up going next, and just more escalations for the most part. It's there's the possibility for some form of capitulation, but it's unlikely because the power centers are all kind of benefiting from the current trends. The U.S., Russia, China, they're all benefiting from the way that things are going currently, and the Europeans are the ones who are paying for that in blood and treasure, flowing out of Europe. And yeah, I guess I'll just leave it there. Not much left to add other than that there is the potential, if things escalate too much from the sort of NATO American proxy perspective, that just that escalations after escalations, it only leads to more destruction of wealth, warfare and destruction of wealth. So I'm trying to stay focused on all the constructive things here, as these chicks are running around the living room and might be an annoyance in the background, as it probably just sounds like we're in the middle of a bird flock or something. But they're fun. It's all this young energy of life flourishing. It's they poop and they make a mess and they're loud, but it's fun to have them around, and that's what life is all about, is about that continual renewal, and that which is old giving itself up in a way so that which is young and new can thrive anew. So for all of those who care about the future, they can put their ego aside and do what's best for the future generations. And those who don't care about the future, they sacrifice the future generations for the sake of the present. And that's what the whole Western culture is currently about, how it's in debt for a generation or several generations, or it'll never pay off the future debt. It's just doesn't care about the future. And that the future is coming to the present, where the result of such patterns are death. And so the whole system is dying, and as it dies, there will be new life growing out of it. And so it's up to us to figure out how to navigate the terrain so that we can continue to thrive through the tumultuous times. So best of luck for you as you navigate this, all of this. And until the next kind of vlog update, I'll just be having the weekly Elodium and OG Foundation proof of work videos. And I think there's only 5 weeks left in the build season here before I go into kind of winter hibernation mode and I really slow down on all the projects. So I'm doing my best to just maintain momentum and the creative capacity and motivation to keep working and preparing and getting ready for winter in the seasonal sense, but also in the macroeconomic sense as well. So until next time, take care.